Imagine for a moment that you possess the power to remain untouched by chaos, impervious to the stress of daily disruptions, and calmly centered no matter what life throws your way. This is not some mystical or unreachable ideal, but a practical, enduring wisdom that can transform your life today. Marcus Aurelius, a Roman emperor, from 161 to 180 AD, cultivated such power through a philosophy that still resonates with us today. Stoicism. At the heart of his teachings lies a remarkably liberating concept, the power of indifference. But before we rush to misunderstand the word indifference, we must be clear about what it actually means. In modern parlance, indifference often carries a negative connotation, a lack of care, of interest, or even of emotional involvement. However, this is far from what Marcus Aurelius meant by it. In his view, indifference is a selective engagement with the world, a strategic decision to focus on what you can control and detach from what you cannot. This approach doesn't mean withdrawing from life. Quite the opposite. It enhances life by liberating you from unnecessary emotional entanglement and freeing up your energy for what truly matters. In his personal writings, collected in his journal Meditations, which was never intended for public view, Marcus Aurelius spoke to himself in the most intimate way, offering powerful reflections on how to embody virtues such as wisdom, justice, courage, and moderation. These reflections were not mere intellectual exercises, but the tools of a man actively engaging with the trials of ruling an empire and living a life of profound challenges, wars, betrayals, losses, and betrayals. The challenges Marcus faced were far from theoretical, and yet his philosophy helped him maintain clarity and calm in the face of overwhelming adversity. The dichotomy of control, central to Stoic philosophy, and particularly to Marcus Aurelius's teachings, is the dichotomy of control, understanding the difference between what we can change and what we cannot. This simple yet profound distinction is the key to peace of mind. There are things beyond our control. We cannot control the weather. We cannot control the past. We cannot control the fact that we will eventually age and die. But here's the crucial part. We can control how we respond to these truths. We can choose how we prepare for a storm. We can reflect on the lessons of the past without being trapped by it. We can accept our aging as a natural part of life and approach it with grace. One of Marcus's most famous meditations captures this concept perfectly. You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. The essence of this wisdom is to recognize that the only thing within your direct control is your mind, and the way you respond to the events around you. This brings strength, not in the form of brute force or resistance, but in the form of inner peace. The fluidity of change, like water. Now let's delve into one of the most powerful concepts Marcus Aurelius touched upon, the idea of change. It's not about transformation, as many might think. It's about changing like water. Water does not transform itself into vapor unless subjected to extreme external pressure, but it changes forms naturally based on the situation. Similarly, in life, we are not bound to transformation. We are meant to change, to adapt, but without altering our essence completely. Think of it this way. Water does not worry about its future form. It simply adapts to its surroundings. Whether it is liquid, vapor, or ice, water remains true to its nature, but it changes shape in response to external forces. Transformation, in the Stoic sense, is dangerous because once you transform, like clouds turning into vapor, there is no going back. The clouds can't return to their previous state because external pressures, heat, have permanently changed them. A Stoic understands that change is inevitable, but transformation, where you cannot return to your previous state, is something to avoid. Instead, focus on being fluid, adaptable, changing shape but never forgetting your core nature. Living with purpose. not reacting to the waves. In the modern world, we are constantly bombarded with distractions, opinions, and frustrations that pull us away from our true purpose. Social media, news cycles, even random encounters. Everything demands a reaction. The trick is to remain indifferent to the noise. Marcus Aurelius didn't waste his energy on things he couldn't control. He didn't let his emotions control him. Instead, he focused on his purpose, his duty to his people, his role as a leader, and his commitment to the cultivation of virtue. Just like the constant ebb and flow of the ocean, life will throw all sorts of waves at us: misfortunes, disappointments, obstacles. The key is to navigate them with composure, not be swept away by them. Stoicism teaches us to engage with life fully, but only with what we can control. The power of indifference in a modern context. Imagine receiving criticism at work. In the past, you might have been hurt, defensive, or angry. But with the Stoic approach, you simply pause and assess. What can I learn from this? What can I control? You detach from the emotional sting and focus on how to improve, to act on what you can control. This is not coldness. This is wisdom. This is strength. Or consider a situation like a global crisis or a viral outbreak. What might Marcus Aurelius have done? Instead of succumbing to fear or frustration over what he could not control, he would focus on the actions within his power, ensuring safety, offering guidance, doing what is necessary to protect his people, and maintain the virtue of leadership. It's a calm, rational approach in the face of the uncontrollable. Indifference doesn't mean apathy. A common misconception about the Stoic philosophy of indifference is that it leads to apathy, a cold, emotionless approach to life. But nothing could be further from the truth. Marcus Aurelius did not advocate for detachment from life's joys, struggles, or responsibilities. Instead, he advocated for wisely choosing where to invest your emotional energy. By focusing on what you can control, you can engage with the world in a way that is deeply fulfilling but not draining. For example, rather than reacting with anger to a rude comment, a Stoic would reflect on why it bothered them and whether it is truly worth their emotional energy. In relationships, this means letting go of minor irritations and focusing on the deeper, more meaningful aspects of connection. In professional settings, it's about focusing on actions that align with your values, not getting bogged down in petty distractions or the uncontrollable actions of others. Finding true freedom through indifference. In today's world, we are surrounded by noise, notifications, advertisements, endless streams of information, and constant demands for our attention. Learning to filter this out by practicing indifference to things we cannot control is the key to personal freedom. It's about choosing where to place your attention and not letting external pressures define your happiness. By practicing indifference, you are not rejecting life, but embracing it in a more deliberate and mindful way. Instead of reacting to every external pressure, you begin to choose your path. You start living not at the mercy of life's waves, but as the master of your own ship. This is the Stoic way, to be fully engaged, but not emotionally entangled. Cultivating inner peace in a chaotic world. The power of indifference is also the power to cultivate inner peace. In a world where we are bombarded by chaos, the Stoic approach teaches us to step back and find stillness within. Once we recognize that we cannot control everything, we free ourselves from the anxiety of trying to do so. What we control is how we respond, and this brings us strength, peace, and resilience. We can look at daily challenges, whether it's stress at work, traffic jams, family disagreements, and choose not to be overwhelmed. Instead, we act with wisdom, engaging where we can, and letting go of the rest. By practicing Stoic indifference, we build resilience, not by denying life's difficulties, but by accepting them and choosing how we will respond. This is how we turn challenges into opportunities for growth. The Stoic philosophy of indifference teaches us the freedom of change, the ability to adapt and adjust without losing our essential nature. Like a tree bending in the wind, we can sway with life's challenges, but remain rooted in our core values. Change is a constant, but transformation, where we lose touch with our true selves, is to be avoided. By practicing Stoic indifference, we free ourselves from the grip of external circumstances. We no longer let stress, anxiety, or the unpredictability of life dictate our peace of mind. Instead, we take control of how we respond to the world. This empowers us to live with purpose, resilience, and calm, no matter what storms we face.